Guys, we're down here at Locarno Beach in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I'm here with Sandro and Beluga. He and Beluga just traveled down from the Arctic Circle. They were the first, to my knowledge, to get up all the way to Tuktoyaktuk, and that was before the Arctic Cybertrucks went up there and installed all those chargers. These guys did it on level 1 charging. We need to hear, what was that experience like, man? Yeah, welcome to the channel.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. It was wild. The reason why I say wild is because like the Dempster Highway, it's also only 1 kilometer is paved. The rest is just gravel road and very bad, but also good.
Like crushed shale, I think I was reading.
Yeah, you know, it's the last 100 kilometers from Nunavik to Tuktoyaktuk is the worst because it's just driving on pebbles.
Wow.
You drive like maybe 20, 30 kilometers per hour. So like 100 kilometers takes you maybe 2.5 hours.
I see you put some crazy tires on the car.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you got some beefy kind of off-road,
yeah.
They're like truck tires, like all-terrain truck tires on there.
The Falcon all-terrains, and they did great. No flats. I think that is really the highlight of the trip is not having a flat. Because I don't have a spare, so it'll be awkward.
You went without a spare tire?
No spare tire.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You got cojones, buddy.
Yeah. Or just stupid, being stupid.
Right? Hey, but you made it, right?
Yeah. And then with the air suspension, actually gives me a really smooth ride, even on bumpy terrain.
Okay.
Some people would air down.
Like take some air pressure out of the tires to handle it?
A smoother ride.
Right.
But because I have the air suspension, it would eat my range if I aired them down, right, significantly. And I was really pushing boundaries. I had no climate control on. Suspension was lowered to the lowest.
Okay.
Increased.
For like efficiency. Aero and that. Yeah. Okay. So what were the conditions like? So what time of year? Let's talk about that first. Like, what time of year were we up there?
I went in June, end of June into July. It was very dry and it was 24-hour daylight too.
Oh wow.
So I think that's really messed with me for a few weeks. I also lost my like, what do you sleep with? What do you call it?
Oh, like a sleep mask.
I lost it.
Oh no.
So it's kind of awkward trying to fall asleep, and so conditions were very dry, 24-hour daylight, which
so your body didn't even know what was going on.
No idea, and I think that kind of got me sick. You know,
I was just gonna say, well, how's your health up there?
I mean, I was sick for a few days. Like, I'm pretty sure I had a fever. I stayed in my car for a full day, pretty much.
Wow. So do you think like you caught a bug or something up there?
Yeah. Okay. I think from Eagle Planes, they had like an isolation of their staff. And
that's where there's that motel or something there, isn't there? Yeah.
And I was there for 4 days because I had to like level 1 charge, and the electricity is very unstable.
Right.
I left sentry mode on, so when people went to go check out the car, any mileage I would gain, I would just lose right there.
But that was not on purpose.
No, that was just afterwards.
Oh,
I learned the hard way.
Okay.
And it's all in my video, kind of the mistakes I've made, and I'm grateful for Justin and Rafa for donating chargers, because the 48 amps, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is a lifeline.
And those are the guys, and we'll put a link to Raphael and Justin, who's Bearded Tesla, and Raphael's Teslatino. We'll put a link to their channels down in the description. Make sure you check out the Arctic Cybertruck. Sandro, I mean, you went up there first before them, and then these guys are kind of installing these Tesla level 2 chargers so that people don't have to go through what you went through. I mean, it was... How was the charging on your trip?
I mean, I still have power. I always say slow juice is better than no juice. And then Nunavik, I did like TT30.
Okay. Right? So with an adapter type thing? Okay.
So that was about 24 amps, which took about a day and a half versus 4 days, which is a big boost.
And this is a long-range Model X.
Yes.
So, but a roughly just under 100 kilowatt battery.
Yep.
Okay.
And actually, it's crazy. I got more out of the range than the car thought I would get.
Wow.
It's like hypermiling, right?
Okay.
So lower the suspension to the lowest, drive slow, regen brake to the max.
No climate on, obviously.
Nope, no climate control. Just windows a little bit rolled down.
Right.
Music, a little soft. Nothing, like the fridge was unplugged. Anything, the EcoFlow in the back, unplugged.
Okay. What is the EcoFlow?
The EcoFlow is the external battery that powers my
It's like a
induction.
battery bank that you have in the car?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it's 1 kilowatt hour. It powers all my electronics. So my induction, my tea kettle, my toaster, blender, because there's no outlet in the Model X, which I think is a mistake Tesla made.
Okay, like an AC outlet.
Yeah, which would have
Okay,
been really
that
nice,
would
like
be
the
good, yeah.
Cybertruck, right?
Yeah.
And it powers my Starlink that I had. Which
So Tesla, if you're watching, we need AC outlets for the car camping here.
it's no brainer.
Yeah.
And yeah, but charging was good. I got to Tuktoyaktuk with 40%, and I could have made it back to Univik round trip. Would have been fine, but I ended up staying 2 days. I like to kind of submerge myself in a town and walk, talk to locals.
Yeah, I'm the same way on my travels. Yeah.
I think there's no reason to rush it unless you have an agenda. And a lot of people who make those trips, they have agendas.
Right.
Because they have like real jobs and they have to get back to work and all that.
Scheduling and everything. Yeah.
So I feel very fortunate that I get to do what I get to do, and then I can take the time and really just submerge myself in the culture, talk to people.
Yeah.
There's even polar bears there. A week after I left, there were polar bears on the beach that I walked.
Wow.
Which was mind-blowing. It's a sad story how they get there.
Yeah.
But it just...
They're searching for food, I guess. Yeah.
And there's no sea ice in the summer, or limited, so they come onto land.
Okay.
And they're top dog. Like, think about a grizzly and then multiply that times 2.
Oh yeah. Well, they say there's a saying that if you see a black bear, what is it? Black bear, you can climb a tree, and then if you see a grizzly bear, you freeze, and if you see a polar bear, you're dead. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's the last thing you see.
The last thing you see, yeah. So the fact that you were on the beach and then not that long later there was polar bears there, that's wild.
I did have bear spray on me. At the visitor center, they advised me to just have it, just in case.
Now, tell us about kind of your experience with the locals up there. I mean, some of the indigenous people. I mean, I actually just had dinner the other night here in Vancouver, and our server, she's from Yellowknife, and so we got talking about Northwest Territories. And one thing she said really kind of like hit me in the heart was she said, we are the forgotten Canada. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I was like, that's like, it made me emotional to be like, yeah, like, you know, you have all these people in these like super northern communities, and you know, that's their way of life, right? That's their society. And like, you know, I have so much respect for it, but it is so cool that now, you know, with these chargers and with EVs and adventurers like us, you know, we can start to bring some of that tourism up there to, you know, bring some commerce to their communities and things like that. But how was it with the local people up there?
Well, a few things. I think with more tourism, I really hope that the tourists keep the town clean.
Right.
They're really emphasizing whatever you pack in, bring back to Univik.
Right. Okay.
My experience there was a bit 50-50. It was very sad because the first thing when you enter town, there's a big trash dump.
Okay.
And it just sits there on the land because the permafrost is frozen.
Yes.
So they can't dig down. So it just sits there, right? That's why they ask people to bring the trash back to Univik.
Oh, so it just sits there permanently?
Yeah.
Like there's no like.
Well, that's what the forgotten Canada.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
It's weird how it works because if the government, I think, cared or
Right.
had incentives to clean it up, they could. But they can't bury the trash, right?
Because the ground is permanently frozen year-round up there.
It's going to melt because of climate change.
Right, and that's what we were hearing is that they're seeing some shifts in the permafrost, and even like when they have these warm spells, because I was hearing they get like these crazy warm spells, which then you were up there, right? And that can disrupt the roads and stuff because they're built on the permafrost.
Well, this is why it's not paved. Because if it was paved, it wouldn't work out.
Okay.
Because the guys in the Yukon who maintain that section of the highway, they say the road changes daily.
This is the Dempster Highway that we're talking about. Okay, yeah.
So like from that experience, it was sad. Even the cemetery, which is right on the water, they have to move in the next couple of years because it's just eroding.
Oh my.
Yeah,
wow,
this is all in my story.
Yeah. Guys, make sure you're following Sandro. Again, links in the description down here to his channel. Really interesting stuff.
Thank you. And then the locals were great. They were really heartwarming. They were excited to see an electric car. Some of them have never actually looked into
with the Falcon doors and everything. Yeah. The X is such a unique vehicle.
And so I took the time to talk to people who were curious about the car. About I wanted to give them a positive experience with electric cars. I feel that kind of that's responsibility. And you probably feel the same. You know, people ask about the car, like you're charging. You kind of take the time to kind of like.
I had a similar experience in Newfoundland when I went into some of the really rural communities. Newfoundland and Labrador. And, And
what was fascinating too, like a lot of people were very open to electrifying their life. the people at Eagle Plains, Garnett, was like, this makes sense. And
Yeah.
he owns the gas station.
Yeah.
Or his family does. And he was like, dude, this makes sense. I would still keep my gas station,
Yes, of course.
but I would still drive an electric car.
But have both.
Yeah,
and
have both.
I believe the same
Yeah.
thing. You know, we don't need to be like, you know, flipping switches and
No.
throwing people's lives into a tizzy, but have both available, right? The
Exactly.
electrification
Yeah.
and we still need fossil fuels for quite a while.
For sure. I mean,
Yeah.
especially those
These remote areas.
isolated cities.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so overall experience was a 50-50, and it
Yeah.
was great. I got to swim in the last day before I left. I felt a little bit better, so I went into the water.
Okay. Did the plunge into the Arctic Ocean?
I did.
Yeah. How
the
did that feel?
It was warm.
Really?
Yeah, the weather was warm because there was so one day it was 7 degrees and the other day was 35 degrees Celsius. So it was the big fluctuation of temperature.
Yeah, this is the air temperature
Yeah,
you're
the
talking
air
about. So
temperature.
7 Celsius
To 35,
and then 35. So that's a huge spread.
jump.
Yeah.
But thankfully I have climate control, like camp mode, so I was able to stay nice and chill.
Yeah.
But the
So
Arctic,
the water day you went into the water.
yeah, it was warm. It was
Yeah.
warm, like kind of lukewarm.
Okay.
But I guess like, I don't know if that was normal or not, but it was kind of like a surprise because I feel like glacier water or like rivers are colder.
Right.
It's also, yeah, anyways, but that was an observation that I made and I wrote that down in my journal. I was like, oh, you know, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that really was okay. I thought about what I want to do next and I pondered the idea of the Pan American.
Yep.
And
Which is a huge journey.
a huge journey.
Before we hop into that, let me
Sure.
ask you real quick.
Okay.
Northern Lights. Did you see the Northern Lights?
Last time I was in Alaska.
Okay.
So I went to Alaska last October, so about a year
So
ago,
they kind of come and go. You're not guaranteed to see them.
because it's 24-hour daylight.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
So they're
Okay.
technically in the sky.
They're in the sky, but you don't see them
You don't
because
see
of the
them.
sun.
Yeah.
Mm,
So like
okay.
later September, like Rafa and Justin saw them.
Yes.
Later September,
Okay.
the best time is actually the Aurora Borealis.
Aurora Borealis. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's in the winter time.
Okay.
The darkness.
Right.
But late to the fall, with your camera, you can actually see better than with your eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really true because when I took pictures of it
Yeah.
and versus what I saw with my eyes, it was not as vivid.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just the
You want like long shutter speeds,
Yep.
long exposure, I should say.
and that's just the charged protons and electrons
Oh wow.
hitting the atmosphere, and then interacting with oxygen, carbon. There's different like
Yeah.
elements that they interact with, and that causes the colors.
Right.
Um,
I want to see it with my naked eyes
Yeah.
one day. That's
Dude,
definitely
it's-
on my bucket list.
It's so cool, and it's like when I first saw it in Alaska, I woke up at 3 in the morning because
Really?
I'd
Okay.
watched the weather, and it's like it's gonna clear up.
Yep.
So I woke up, opened the falcon door, turned the lights off, and just sat there for like maybe 20 minutes.
Wow.
Because it's just like it's like a music orchestra,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just watching it, and yeah, it's something.
Incredible. It's a phenomenon.
It's a phenomenon,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And even in the South Pole, you can see it, and in the North Pole.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize it was in the south
Yeah,
as well.
it's
Okay.
it's called It's different. I read like a little
The
piece
different
on
name of it?
different
Yeah,
name.
very cool. Amazing.
Yeah.
So tell us about your next great adventure. What do you got
Yeah.
planned?
Well, I recently announced it that I have plans to start traveling down to South America, or attempt to see how far I can bring Beluga down there. It's probably going to take a year or two. I'm taking a big chunk of my life. I'm dedicating it. I feel very privileged to live the life, and I want to just explore more. Like North America is beautiful. I've kind of seen it, most of it. Not
A lot of it.
a lot of it, not as much as you on the East Coast.
Right. Which you
Um,
do. You got to get out
Yeah.
there. We got to explore Labrador one of these days.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, what do I want to do next? I'm very self-sufficient.
Yeah.
This has kind of become my job, is to drive around and tell stories, and, I'm like,
And share it with the world.
Yeah, and
you
share it
know?
with
I
the
mean,
world.
You've seen so much, and that's one thing that, I mean, I did it on a much smaller scale, but you're able to share some of the insights and the intricacies of these remote communities and the beautiful nature with the rest of the world, with somebody that may not have the opportunity
Mhm.
or means or time to get out into these areas,
Yeah.
but they can enjoy it and appreciate it through the videos.
yeah, and it's just exciting, and I'm giving myself a few months to really prep. I can't wing it like I do most of my travels. Like I actually have to plan
A
it.
lot of planning, yeah.
A lot of planning.
Like Central America is going to be just a wild adventure
Yeah.
to get through there.
Yeah, but I have time on my side.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm kind of just, doing some tests with different things like a solar module, bigger battery pack, external, so I can charge myself if I really have to. Like 40 kilometers, which would be awesome. That's a lot, to
Right.
carry around with extra juice. So I have like a maybe
So power, food, security, kind of your navigation.
And budgeting.
right?
And
And finances, yeah.
Finances.
Yeah. So speaking of finances, how can people support you, Sandro, if they want to reach out?
Well, thanks for asking. Honestly, Patreon is the platform that I kind of like funnel to.
Okay.
I can interact with you guys better, get to know you on a personal level. I mean, I answer all my YouTube comments, you know, pretty straight on. Because anytime somebody watches my video, I feel they've spent time with me indirectly.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful because, you know, like you do YouTube, so like it takes a lot of work, effort behind the scenes.
100%.
We have Patreon. Also, no shame to YouTube, but YouTube takes a big cut on any donations you make, which I think very unfair for the creator. So that's why Patreon. There's a bunch of added benefits that you can have, different tiers.
So we'll put a link to your
that'd be
Patreon
awesome.
in this video as well. And guys, just the most important thing is, even if you can't financially contribute, but make sure you're hitting that like button and kind of helping the algorithm on Sandro's platforms.
Even watching it, you know, and just and sharing it with a friend. I always say, like, send it on a postcard.
Yeah, exactly.
Do one of those. It's already a massive support.
It's so interesting, some of the places that you get to.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at Beluga and kind of give us a little bit of a walk around.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Sandro, so here we are with Beluga, and I noticed that this thing is absolutely filthy. And tell us, you told me off camera, but why are you not washing it?
It has a story, and people come talk to me, and I take a lot of pride in the dirt outside. It breaks my heart when it starts raining, so I'm very happy. The last
You worked hard for that dirt.
Super hard. Like, I actually drove 3 hours to find some proper mud.
Good for you. Where's this mud from?
This is from near Seattle.
Near Seattle.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and it made its way up to Vancouver.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just roll around and just a bunch of donuts.
Amazing. And he's got it all down the side of the car here. Look at this. This is awesome. Well, let's check out your living quarters in the back here.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
So I have a telescope designed right here. So it's a slide-out drawer, right? So 2 pieces.
I love the stickers.
Yeah.
You guys know I'm all about the sticker game.
Yes. I just don't like mine on the outside. I like it on the inside. Yeah,
Very cool.
This is the induction right here.
Okay, so you get the cooktop.
The tea kettle, which I'll show, is just underneath there.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah. And then,
let's see some of those stickers. So we got Frubble. So I have this one on my car. This is legendary. Tuktoyaktuk.
Yep.
Love that. Dawson City.
Yep.
Beaver Creek.
They were big fans of me.
So cool.
Because I reached out to them. I was like, hey, I need to ship a part.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, let's get it to you. But I never ended up shipping that adapter that I needed, the 1430.
Yeah.
But they knew all about my trip. They were following me the whole time.
Wow. And then you got the Yukon one over here too. Super
this is
cool.
random I found with the land of the midnight sun.
Yes.
24-hour day late, which is pretty neat.
So cool, man. So
man.
cool. I love that. Because you kind of like, you journey along and then you look at that and you're like, oh yeah, I remember when I was there and the people and the culture and everything.
Some stickers.
Yeah.
The Planet Fitness is special though. That's how I stay smelling good.
Right. Your all your hygiene.
Yeah, and water. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Refill your reservoirs and stuff.
Yep.
So here's the water pump. So you just press the button. How's that powered?
That's powered with like a USB-C port right here.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then I have the water kettle.
Oh, very cool.
Water kettle. This is the.
So your reservoir's there. Okay. How many gallons is that? Liters?
5 gallons, 20 liters.
Okay. Yeah.
My camera bag, some clothes.
Oh, there's a toaster.
Toaster, yeah.
Jeez.
Everything really. I got all my clothes here.
Yep.
Some food items. I have like a fridge. I mean a dispenser.
Okay. Oh, look at that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, is this is a 5-passenger Model X?
Yes.
So you have like a little bit kind of storage up underneath there that you're using as well?
Yeah, go ahead.
And is this your bed mattress here?
That's a bed mattress. I have to stitch it because it's slowly breaking, but that's how I sleep on this side.
Okay.
And actually I sleep with my head facing this way.
Oh, okay. So the opposite of me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel better. I feel a little bit more protected.
Okay.
And yeah, I want to show you one more thing, which is
and then look at the spice rack. We got all the spices here, paprika, the whole deal. Very cool.
All labeled too, so I don't forget what it is. This is probably my favorite thing. So I have a Starlink mini dish right here.
Okay, so cool. Check this out, guys.
That fits right in the Falcon door. It works when it's plugged in right here.
Okay, wow.
While I'm driving.
And is that powered from your battery bank?
Yes, which I'll show you in a second. But this is what I wanted to show you.
Is that a vacuum?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he has a vacuum.
You gotta clean the house. You gotta keep the house clean.
That's amazing.
But this I got from a friend, a real Northwest Territories license plate, 1986.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It's special because even locals will not give you the plate. I asked a few of them. They're like, yeah, we don't give that away.
Wow.
Because it's like special.
Yeah, of course.
They're the only province in Canada that has it as a bear.
That's right. It's a three-dimensionally cut plate. Yeah.
Which is so freaking cool. It's a real plate from 1986.
Is it just hanging there?
No, it's been screwed.
You got screws on there. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
So cool. 13066. Guys, that's going to be his PIN code, so we'll just get his bank card.
Yeah, you know how it is. Yeah, and then
that's awesome.
Blender here.
Okay, yep.
Some other...
And then down here is, what's this?
That's my fridge.
Oh, okay.
So, because I have a passage.
Okay, how do we power the fridge?
The EcoFlow. I'll show you in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, awesome. Very cool, man.
Yeah. Let me show you how I power everything, because that's always a common question. So right here, this is the EcoFlow Delta 2. I can actually take this out.
Oh, wow, it's tucked up. So is it laying on its side?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's anchored, so it's zip tied. Right
here. Let's take a look here.
It's zip tied.
Okay.
This is a 1 kilowatt hour.
I see the display there.
Yep, and I have an app with my phone, so I can monitor what my output is.
So is it Bluetooth or?
Yes. Bluetooth.
Okay.
And that's powered by this one right here, the DC outlet.
Okay, cool. So it trickle charges.
Yep.
Off the car. Yep. So you supercharge or level 2 charge or whatever Beluga, then Beluga pumps into your battery bank, and then your battery bank then powers your toaster and your kettle and your cooker and your fridge, and
yeah. So let's say I spend the whole day cooking. Sometimes I cook twice a day.
Okay.
The battery will be depleted, but then I just keep camp mode on all night, and then it recharges overnight in about 8 hours on 110.
Yeah, because camp mode runs power to
But once I leave, the car completely shuts off.
Okay.
And I think, because you see how high this profile is?
Right.
This is based off propane initially, but propane is a subscription because you have to like buy a new propane canister.
Right.
You have to dispose of it. It's expensive. You never know when you're gonna run out. You'll be cooking and then you're like, oh man, I ran out. And then two, the worst part too is if it's windy, like today we're at the beach and I want to cook something. You're not going to be successful with propane.
I've struggled with my jet boil, just trying to like make a French press coffee in the wind, and I'm like setting up blockades, and I'm like kind of like trying to curve the wind around so the flame will boil the water. So that is like, yeah, you could be in a hurricane and that thing will boil water.
Well, that'd be a good video idea.
Right?
No, but yeah. So
making tea in the middle of a hurricane.
It's all about efficiency and kind of breaking the barriers. Like if I can start cooking within 10 seconds, I'm going to cook more.
Yeah.
Right? If I don't have to set everything up, I just light it up, bring the pan out, and bam, I'm cooking.
And you don't have any emissions. I mean, you can have the hatch closed or whatever, right?
I've cooked inside my car. I've made pizza in a few blizzards. Like really crisp and toasty.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
really?
It's kind of my staple meal. You just need good dough and then induction plate on level 3, 20 minutes, and you have a significant, delicious, crispy pizza.
Now, do you use any like, for your pots and pans, like do you use any like cast iron or anything
No,
like
I
that,
don't because Jimmy taught me that too.
Okay.
It's so much cleaning. You have to
the maintenance of the cast iron.
Yeah. I mean, it can't, if a friend of mine has a cast iron, I'll use it. But on the other hand, it takes a lot of extra maintenance to upkeep. And I have like a non-stick pan right here.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. And it's got like the metal disc, so it works with induction, and you're good to go.
It's quick. Within 10 seconds, the pan is warm.
Okay.
It's insane.
Very cool. What's kind of the number one question you get with Beluga when you get into some of these communities and stuff? Like, I'm sure there's not a lot of Model X's that run through, rural Alaska and rural Canada. What are people most interested with?
A few things. This is one, how do I charge? And it's actually very easy. I'm very grateful for PlugShare.
Okay.
They're
Shout out to PlugShare. That's the app where you can find wherever, I guess in the world, right? They're worldwide to wherever to plug in your car, level 1, 2, or 3 charging.
Yeah, and you can filter through. There's like a plug score. So people leave reviews. I leave reviews like, hey, this charger is a miss. Do not charger. Don't rely on it.
Okay.
Which is very important because it's third-party charging, right? And then the second question is, am I afraid of the car catching fire? Like, I get that question a lot.
Really?
Like, yeah, the battery. And I said...
But you don't have any open flame or anything. It's just electricity and...
That misconception of them catching fire. But there's 100 times greater chance with a gas car to catch fire than your electric battery. And if it does, they won't turn it off. They won't water it down. They will just let it burn because it's so much energy in the battery.
Yeah.
But I always joke around, like, if it does catch fire, I'll be nice and cozy, like, like camping somewhere.
Oh my
but yeah,
gosh.
I'm not afraid, but that's always, like, the questions, like, they ask where a charge, and then they're afraid of the battery failing. And then...
Right. So it's a lot of, like, kind of people just not knowing, but also there is some element of misinformation out there,
100%.
unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
you know, guys like us that do these trips, I mean, the big thing for me was like, how did you get out here to Labrador? How on earth are you going to survive in Newfoundland without any superchargers? And it's like, well, you can, anywhere where there's power lines, I know that I can get fuel for my vehicle, you know?
You don't want to tap directly into it, but as
No,
long
but
as there's electricity.
But if there's a house or a farm where you see the power lines going in, I know I can go there, I can plug in
Yeah.
and fill up, so.
And for most people, it's going electric is very practical. There's one scenario that I've actually found that it doesn't work, and that's living in Beaver Creek, right? So it's the most western town in Canada.
Okay.
It's Beaver Creek. It's right between Alaska.
Is that in the Yukon?
In the Yukon.
Okay.
The reason is they have to drive 5.5 hours one way for groceries.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 5.5 hours. It's about $200 Canadian in gas round trip. It's the only application where I'm like, okay, electrification doesn't work there because they don't have the charging infrastructure.
Yeah, they don't have any grid.
Nope.
Out there.
Yeah, and it's very limited. They do have a fast charge in town, but it's one.
Okay.
But if you had to make that trip, you have to stop at least once. And if everybody were to make the trip down, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Only application from what I found today that just doesn't work because that stretch of 5 hours is such a bad road too. And then you're gonna, during the winter time, people have been stuck there with electric cars. I've heard the stories.
Interesting.
But I always say it's kind of the driver too, just experience.
Yeah.
But
over time, I can see infrastructure improving, the battery technology, you know, range, you know, we're longer range battery packs, or even, you know, solar battery banks. Maybe they can develop something that can be dropped in the wilderness that kind of like self-charges, and then you can roll up to it, that sort of thing. And then with Starlink, of course, they'd be able to remotely know if that thing is fully charged and can charge your vehicle before you set out on your journey. So I think a lot of these issues that we're experiencing, because we still are in early days of a lot of this, you know, I mean, yeah, that's a super sophisticated Model X you're driving, but there's other technologies that are still emerging, like Starlink, that solve so many problems of communication. And I mean, heck, communication's a huge one. Just a complete game changer, especially up north. I'm sure you noticed that.
Well, that's how I kept a lifeline to my family, let them know everything was okay.
Yeah.
I was able to do work as well, like work on my content with no cell service whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like Starlink is really like a game changer. And then the mini dish, which I got within a week of ordering it, don't ask me how I got to Alaska. I have no idea. I got there, picked it up.
That's wild.
And it fits perfectly in my Falcon door, so you don't have to add pieces to it, like suction cups or whatever.
And it communicates right through the glass, no problem.
And sometimes if I'm under the tree, I'll just move it to the windshield.
Right. Okay.
And that's it. And then I have pretty much the quickest internet that I need to even stream 4K or even do like YouTube lives.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing. So that is, man, so much to learn. Follow this guy if you're not already. Sandro, man, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. Your adventures are really just beginning. You've done so much, but guys, follow along. We're talking about Pan-American journey to South America in the works. So we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.